4th.
Yep.
My name is Rob Dauster, and once again, as always, I'm joined by the one and only Da'Sean Butler, former West Virginia All-American and current co-host of this podcast, the real star of this show. We are sponsored and presented by BetRiver Sportsbook and Casino. And Da'Sean, how you doing, man? What's going on?
Nothing much, my friend. Nothing much. Just brown bagging it, having a good day. Just hanging out with the kids. You know how it is during these COVID times, man. Just enjoying this family time. As soon as I get to work, it won't be as I won't be as in the house.
Yeah. So we got some news to break. You want to share it with the people?
Geez. I mean, I just got an assistant coaching job at a Wheeling University, so I'm excited for that. You know, thank you for the claps.
Woo! If I had a sound effect, I would do the cheer sound effect, but I don't have that, so I got to do the manual sound.
The real claps. You have to do the real claps. We'll get some money soon, and we'll start getting the special effects later, man.
So this is a celebratory Beers and Ball live stream, as always. Crack it right there for you guys, so the people on the podcast can hear it as well. Da'Sean, what are you drinking tonight?
I have Anchor Steam beer.
Yes,
this beer here is not made with it's not made with ice. From what I've read today.
So you know what's cool about Anchor Steam? Hold on, let me hold up the bottle.
Talk to me.
Hold up. Yeah. So steam beers. I can't remember. I might get this backwards. So if someone in the comments can correct me, please do. But like ales and lagers are brewed different ways.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that Anchor Steam is an ale that's brewed like a lager, which just means it's going to give it a different flavor and it's going to make it kind of unique in the process of making the beer. So yeah. That's my nerdy beer thing about Anchor Steam.
That's very interesting because I had no clue. I looked into this beer today and it basically said that this beer is it's made by hand. I was like, wait, how? Like, I don't know. I was confused when I read it. I was like, no, this is not what they meant.
They bottle every single one by hand. It's individually bottled beers.
For some reason, I just thought of someone just like pouring beer through hands and just drinking it. So,
all right. So what I'm drinking is from Stone Brewery in San Diego. It is their Fear Movie Lions Double IPA, a tall boy. But the thing that I love about it is, you see that? You see what's going on there? They printed the logo and everything on the can upside down.
Yes,
I'm not really sure why. Stone does weird things like this sometimes with the beers that they make. I have no idea why they did that. I thought for a second that maybe I just drank a little too much tonight, and then it was like, what the fuck is going on? But I think pretty sure it was intentional. So we have some fun stuff to talk about. We're going to get into Ohio State's win over Iowa and talk a little bit about the insanity that was Wednesday night in college basketball. But I do think it's probably important to mention that right now, Gonzaga is down by 7 with 15 minutes left at Pacific. So I expect that Gonzaga will find a way to pull this one out, but there's a pretty real chance that we could be live streaming the first loss of the season for the Zags. So buckle up and be prepared for that, Da'Sean.
I can't foresee that happening. I'm sorry. It's just not. It's not. They can have a bad half, but they're not going to lose to Pacific. Sorry.
Yeah. All right. So let's start with Ohio State and Iowa. My takeaway from that was that Iowa basically is who we thought they were. They can score a lot of points. Luka Garza is really, really good at what he does, and they cannot guard anybody. I'm pretty sure that if you rolled me and you out there right now, just the two of us, we'd find a way to hang with them and put up 80 points on this Iowa team. So, yeah.
Sorry. I'm not laughing I'm just thinking about me going out there running with these young.
Oh, so hold on. So Doug Taylor.
That's not you.
Doug Taylor just said in the comments that the reason why Stone has this can upside down is because you're supposed to leave no stone unturned. So you're supposed to go like this.
It's quality. I thought it was like a party trick that they're trying to make you look upside down, and
so you dump the beer in your head.
Idiot.
All right, so talk to me about Ohio and Ohio. I almost said Ohio and Iowa State. Ohio State and Iowa. What do you make of that? What do you make of that performance? How good do you think this Ohio State team really is? Give me all the takes, Da'Sean. I need all the takes.
I mean, just watching the game, it was the score changed a ton. It was back and forth for a good bit of the game. And the second half, I mean, Ohio State just like they just started dogging them. I want to say dogging them because they didn't blow them out or anything like that, but they kind of just took the game away from Iowa, and Iowa didn't obviously they didn't. I'm trying to find the word for it.
It felt like they were going to run away with it. Like there was early in the second half.
They were up like 8 or going on 10, maybe close to it. But I was sitting there, I'm like, all right, Iowa's getting ready to like push them away. I think it might have been right after like a Luka Garza jump shot too. I was sitting there, I was like, wow, this is about to get ugly. And Ohio State, they just didn't go away, and they just stuck with them. And then they started knocking out jump shots. They hit 2 big threes back to back, and after that, I mean, they ran away with it. They just out hustled them. They out muscled them. They got to every ball, made every shot they possibly could, and they ended up winning the game. Where I was impressed because Ohio State. What is that? Is this their like what 4th or 5th game against ranked teams in the Big Ten? So like they've been playing pretty well as of recently.
I mean they're very legit. You know, they're 15-4 right now. They haven't really been at full health all season long. You know they're legitimate.
It caught me off guard. I'm not gonna lie. Like this, I won't say a run they've been on, but just like the teams they've beaten in the Big Ten, that has caught me off guard because I remember them starting off a little slow, and I was like, And then after they beat Rutgers, I mean, I kind of feel like they took off a little bit afterwards.
Yeah, they went on a run.
Yeah, man,
they went on a run, and the crazy part about it to me is that they're doing this without really having like healthy point guards. You know, CJ Walker is back now. I don't think CJ Walker is quite himself yet. You know, he had 9 assists tonight and only 1 turnover. But anytime that you play Gonzaga and you look at raw numbers, like I just automatically assume that those numbers are inflated. I'm sorry, when you play Iowa. I just automatically assume that those numbers are inflated. I got excited because Drew Timme and his handlebar mustache just dunked on like 7 people. So my bad.
Don't worry about it.
But I mean, they just got so many shooters, man. Like Dwayne Washington can get hot and knock down like 3 or 4 in a row. Justin Arns can get hot and knock down 3 or 4 in a row. EJ Lidell, I swear, I've watched probably like 5 or 6 Ohio State games at this point, and I don't think I've seen EJ Lidell miss a 15-foot jump shot. Like that dude.
He's been really, really consistent from mid range, and I kind of feel like that's been giving him the edge. I mean, the mismatches he's been getting in the low post and mid post. And being able to exploit those has made it a big difference for Ohio State. I feel like he's obviously he's a key. He's been getting like 15 or higher, but he's been playing very well, and he's possibly the reason why they're playing so well. Period. Winning game.
Would you have him as an All-American at this point? Like I got in this argument with Rob Hummel and Jeff Goodman the other day, and Jeff is convinced that like EJ Liddell should be a second-team All-American, and without like putting any disrespect on his name because he's awesome. Yeah, I think there's also like a very real argument to make that he's a second team All Big Ten player, and that mostly says a lot more about the
conference person.
Yeah, it says more about the Big Ten than anything else. But like, he's really really good. Like really really good.
I could see the argument. I feel like I wouldn't be able to. I don't feel comfortable enough to count him out. Being as far as like how he's been playing. These games against the ranked teams that they've beaten, he's been playing very well, like at a high level, like taking advantage of these mismatches against really, really good players that could possibly be, first team All Big Ten or All Americans. So I would have to wait until the season plays out. I can't sit there and count him out off rip. Like I can think of like other players and be like, nah, no chance. Like he's definitely like one of those guys that's on the cusp. I would have to see how he finished out his season. But if he continues to play like this, leading into like the Big Ten tournament, man, please, I can see him definitely being an All-American. Just as versatile as he is, like he's not like super tall, he's not small either. Like it's a big problem for these dudes that are playing the 4 and 5 that have to go out there and guard him. Like it's very difficult.
So my only problem with it is like I think first team All-America right now for me would be Luka Garza, National Player of the Year, and then Corey Kispert and Drew Timme, and then Jared Butler and Davion Mitchell. Like, that's my first team right there. So if you're going to tell me that EJ Liddell is one of the 5 best players in college basketball after that group, like that's That's a little hard for me to get behind, and I don't think that is like slandering him at all. He's awesome, but I think that it's a little bit too much for me at this point. But that said, there's an argument that you can make that Ohio State is the best team in the Big Ten. Is that going too far?
Even with the winning, I can't even. It just doesn't feel comfortable saying. I just can't say that they are the best team. Like I just can't. I don't know. I can't really. I don't feel comfortable thinking that they're the best team. I mean, they just.
It's probably Michigan, right? It's got to be Michigan at this point.
I still feel like it's Michigan. It was like they beat a team. I feel like that. Like Ohio State's a more consistent team, offensively and defensively. Like they may have their nights where they are a little off, but I feel like they're at least okay defensively, okay offensively. Where I mean, Iowa is great offensively, but for them to win games, they got to be okay defensively. Like when they have lousy nights like they did in the second half tonight, like it's like what are we talking about? Like the second half was terrible. I mean, the first half wasn't like that great either. They gave up 40 both halves, but geez, bro, the second half, like they had the game won. You
see the shot Kispert just hit, and he just hit a 4-point play. God, Kispert is so good, bro. And he's bringing the headband back too. I'm jealous of his
he's
flow.
Not bringing the headband back.
He's bringing it back. He's bringing the head. Look at that. There are
numerous people that wear headbands. The headband hasn't gone anywhere to be brought back.
But you're right. It was it's Corey Kispert and Joe Harris are bringing the headband back. you know what's funny? Like I swear everyone's like, yeah, they're going to be the same player when they get to the NBA, and I'm like, yeah, and they also both look like they own a vegan coffee shop in the suburbs of Seattle. Right? Like look at this guy.
I can see him actually working as a waiter in a vegan cafe.
I can see him working at the cash register at an Abercrombie and Fitch store.
With a skinny headband across his head and holding his hair up.
Yeah, that's what it is. So for Iowa, like Iowa, I've reached the point where I'm completely out on them.
Really?
Like I know how dangerous they can be.
I can't get out on them with the player of the year in their team. I can't.
They cannot get enough stops. They gave up 78 points to Michigan State. That's more than double what Michigan State scored against Rutgers. Like Ohio State is a really, really good team, but it looked like. So here's the thing that gets me. Justin Arns has taken 2 2-point field goals the entire season, 2 of them. Right? He shoots like 40-something% from 3. Like every single person on the planet. My son knows what the scouting report is for Justin Arns. Right? Everybody knows what that scouting report is, and somehow. When Iowa was up by what was it? When they were up by 8 or up by 10 in the second half,
2 at the top of the cake, bam, bam.
Yeah, he got like 3 straight threes, wide open. Like, how is that acceptable?
I won't even say. Here's how I'll put it. The one that he made, they jumped at the 3-point line, which is a big no-no. Mm-hmm. You don't leave your feet on the 3-point line, regardless of who it is, because you don't block shots from there. And he sold it with a nice little pump fake, 1 dribble left, boom. No one came over after the pump fake. I mean, they weren't expecting was that Bohannon to jump out of his fucking sneakers, but he did. It happens. Move on. You can't give him a 3 again. The next one was wide open. You can't give him a 3 again. Like that's
and they ran like it wasn't just wide open. They ran away from him.
They ran away from Like you can't do that. Like that just means like your defensive awareness is just like it's dropping as the game goes on. Like. Especially when the points start, when teams get closer to you, it's like you expect your defensive awareness to like pick up, or you need to make an adjustment or something. Like it dropped, like it started to get worse as they got a lead.
Yeah, their defense is not. They make so many mistakes that I would just should not be acceptable, and we'll get to that. We have a player draft coming up that I think is going to be a fun thing or a player trade deadline. That I think is going to be a fun thing to do, and we're going to talk about things that are basically exactly that. So, until they prove that they can be a like top 50-ish team defensively, because right now, Da'Sean, you know what they are? They are the nation's best offensive team, according to KenPom.
They are.
According to the efficiency metrics, they're number 1 nationally in offensive efficiency. They are 135th in adjusted defensive efficiency. 135th.
I wouldn't even disagree with that.
That's not. It's just like not. It's not. It's not acceptable. Like I'm going to bring it up right now. Here's what I'm going to do, Da'Sean. I'm going to figure out who they are worse than defensively, and I'm going to tell you, and you're going to tell me if you think that this team can win a national title.
Leave my team out of it.
They're worse. They're worse than UMass defensively, right? And UMass is not very good, right? They're worse than Iowa State. Iowa State is better than them defensively. Wake Forest is better than them defensively. Georgia is better than George Mason is better than them defensive. Nebraska is better than them defensively. They are horrible on that end of the like. That's not. You can't win that way. You can't win a national title when you are this bad defensively. And like they can absolutely get hot and win 4 straight games and get to the Final Four, especially if the bracket breaks right for them. Mm-hmm. But they're 13-5 right now. Like they might be. Like what happens if they end up being a 3 or a 4 seed? They're going to be an underdog heading into the Sweet 16 potentially. Yeah. I don't know. I want to be on them because I love Luka Garza so much, but I think I'm out on Iowa at this point. All right, let's talk a little bit about what happened on Wednesday because it does look like Gonzaga is going to end up winning. I think there's like Damon Stoudemire is losing his mind right now. Did you see that?
No, I have not.
There was a pretty bad charge call, and he lost his. Like he had the mask off. He was running on the floor. Jordan Bell just picked up his 4th personal foul. Jordan Bell apparently came back to college from the NBA, put on about 50 pounds, and grew his hair out, and is now playing for Pacific instead of playing for the Golden State Warriors. Took you a second to get that reference.
I was about to say, I was like, wait a minute, Jordan Bell. That's like, what?
took you a second to get that reference.
What are you talking about right now?
There's a guy in Pacific named Jordan. Jordan Bell from Oregon.
No. I was about to say, I know who that Jordan Bell is. So I'm trying
the guy that committed the charge. Yeah, I didn't know who he was either until I just saw David Stoudemire pick up the tech. All right, real quick before we move on, I just want to let you guys know that if you've never placed a bet before on sports, BetRiver Sportsbook has a super deal on the big game between Kansas City and Tampa Bay. Do you know what game that is, Da'Sean?
What is that?
The Super Bowl.
We've never heard of it. Never heard of it.
So sign up with BetRivers today, and if you make your first deposit of at least $100 with the code BIGGAME500, and you get up to $500 in free bets if you do that. All you have to do to unlock $500 in free bets, Da'Sean, is to make $100 worth of real money bets on the big game, aka the Super Bowl. There's never been a better Da'Sean's still never heard of it. There's never been a better time to get on the action, and there's never been a better time to figure out what the Super Bowl is, Da'Sean. So
I'm looking it up right now.
So make your bets today at BetRiver Sportsbook. Go to betrivers.com and bet with a winner. And if you want a winner, just take the opposite of whatever I take because I lose every bet that I make, apparently. All right, so on Wednesday night, things got wild, man. Number 3 Villanova lost at St. John's. Number 5 Houston lost at East Carolina. Number 15 Creighton lost at home to Georgetown.
Yeah, to Georgetown.
Number 16 Virginia Tech lost at Pitt. Number 22 Florida lost at home to South Carolina. What to you was the wildest thing that you saw on Wednesday night? What was the craziest stat? What was your biggest takeaway from that shit show that was college basketball on Wednesday night?
Creighton can't lose to Georgetown. Mm-hmm. That's a bad loss. Like that kind of threw me, especially. I mean, they got I would say a somewhat good game out of Christian Bishop. I mean, you got the usual suspects. Their top 5 guys played okay. I was at a loss for how the hell they lost the game. Like they just didn't stop Georgetown, which is strange because Georgetown isn't, especially this season, they haven't been like known for their like offensive like achievements. But I mean, Patrick Ewing coached them to a good win. So I mean, I can't knock it. I can't hate on Pat. I'm a Patrick Ewing fan forever, but.
So for me, it was Villanova going into St. John's and just getting wrecked, man. Like that one.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
I think they were up 7-0 early on in that game. And at one point, St. John's was up like 18 in the second half.
Yeah,
Posh Alexander completely dominated that game.
Really? I didn't get a chance to watch that game at all.
Completely, like he was kind of pointing St. John's press, and like they took Villanova out of everything they wanted to do. Like I've never seen a Villanova team get that flustered offensively, and it looked like they were that out of control and that out of sync and that out of sorts. And and Posh, like in transition, he was doing it too. Like on the break, he finished with 16 points to 6 assists. Like he had a very, very good game. And I've kind of got to the point where like I low key think St. John's might be legit. I thought coming into this game that they were on a 4-game winning streak, right? But they won at UConn in a game where James Bouknight didn't play. Yeah. Utah Valley State, whatever, DePaul, whatever. Like, okay, like those are, you beat Marquette at Marquette. Well, Marquette sucks this year. Like that's not something to necessarily change your opinion of an entire program based on. But this, like just completely dominating a game against a team as good as Villanova, like to me, that's a little bit of a difference maker. And that's something that kind of makes you stand up and say, oh, okay, maybe this team is legit.
I mean, once again, you just said that beating a team like that definitely opens some eyes. I would like to see them continue to win more games. I mean, I can, like you just said, we weren't really too impressed. I remember the guy was giving me a hard time in Twitter. I forgot his name. And he's like, when are you guys going to start talking about St. John's? And I was just like, bro, like, I haven't seen them play anybody yet. But
he told me the other night that he's done with me. I mean, I made some joke about St. John's. Sorry, I'm plugging in my computer over here because I didn't. It was about to die. He told me the other night that he's done with me because of some kind of St. John's slander that I had, and I was like, I literally have not thought about St. John's since the last time that you tweeted at me. So, my bad, bro.
Sorry to the people at St. John's. My guy Rob is making a joke. It's just a joke, but still, I mean, if they're gonna win games like this, I mean. Who am I to count this team out? I mean, it should be. I just need to see them do this more often against the better teams in the conference. So,
yeah. I mean, absolutely, they have to. So, I think I was on a little bit of an island when St. John's decided to hire Mike Anderson because I actually thought that it was a pretty good hire. Well, maybe pretty good is a little bit too strong. But I actually wasn't as down on it, and I thought it was a little bit creative and a little bit outside the box, more than like Jeff Goodman hated it. A lot of other people hated it. And the thing that I liked about it is that, Da'Sean, you know this as well as anyone, there are a ton of kids in that city that are just athletic as hell, that have played in the New York City public leagues, and that understand how to thrive in a system where like pressing and forcing turnovers and getting out in transition is the way to play. Like that's basically the basketball those kids have played every day of their lives growing up, more or less, right? Yeah. Is that so? You put Mike Anderson in a city where you have all of that, all this talent and guys that can thrive in that system, where he's not going to be going after one and dones. He's going to be going after dudes that can hang around for 4 or 5 years. That I think it makes sense, right? Now, the key is going to be like he had to find people that could like connect him to the city kids. Like how many people in New York City do you think Mike Anderson has ever met? Right? Like he spent his entire life coaching in like Alabama and Arkansas, Missouri. Like he's from the South, and now you're going to New York City. Like it's the recruiting bases are very, very different there. But as long as you have like the right people on your staff and you make the right connections as soon as you get to the city, like it can work. And I think that's kind of coming to fruition a little bit. Now, look, the key is going to be maintaining it. Like winning one game is winning one game. St. John's 3 years ago, they were 0-11 in the Big East, and they turned around. You remember this? They turned around and they beat the Grayson Allen Duke team. And then the next game they won at Villanova the year that Villanova won the national title. Yeah. And I think they finished like 2-16 in the Big East that year. But it's like, hey, you got those 2 wins, so whatever. But like I'm kind of in on him. I kind of like what Mike Anderson's doing. Is that crazy?
Nah, not really. Geez, bro. I've known Mike Anderson for like a long time, and I've always been a fan of his style of play. I mean, I could never play that way, but always a fan of watching, the the pressure for 40 minutes style of basketball. And I feel like with Mike Anderson, it won't be too difficult for him to get acclimated in New York with the recruiting. Like this is, in a sense, I mean, like you just said, these players in New York, they love to compete. These guys are competitors at heart. And what Mike Anderson, his style of offense and style of defense, especially, is all it is effort and competing. And I feel like New York guys will thrive in those scenarios and those systems when you put them in it. So it's just a matter of him, like you said, getting acclimated in the city. And what guys from New York wouldn't want to keep their guys in New York? I mean, so him recruiting that, letting them know we want these guys to stay home, not go to out of state anywhere, wherever, like not go to Seton Hall or wherever they're going to go. Stay here. I think Mike Anderson actually will be the perfect guy for that situation.
Yeah, I'm with you there too. I like that explanation of it. You got anything to say about Houston losing at East Carolina? Like that came out of the blue. Virginia Tech losing at Pitt. I'm actually I'm legit kind of sad that Florida lost. I want very good things to happen for that program.
That just made our loss to them look like we are just one of the worst teams to ever play. They just after losing, they beat us, and then they go lose that one. I was just sitting there, just like, geez, bro. One of my guys is an assistant coach there, Darius Nichols, and I texted him, and I was just like, "What are you guys doing? Man? What are you guys doing? You kill our team, and then you go and then you drop the ball the next like couple of days."
Yeah, it's It feels like this is kind of quintessential South Carolina, right? Where it's like, yeah, they suck, write them off, and then all of a sudden they come out and they beat some ranked team on the road, smack them around a little bit. All right, let's get into Gonzaga. Looks like they're pulling away a little bit. They've gone up by 7, and now we can kind of get into our college basketball trade deadline. This is one of my favorite.
It's safe to talk now because
it's safe to talk now.
I got to keep looking at them. They'll take care of the 7-point lead for sure.
Yeah. So this is something that I do pretty much every year, Da'Sean. Just like it's just kind of like a fun thought exercise, I guess, because it's never going to be something that comes to fruition. But I've always been enamored by the idea of being able to trade college basketball players.
Terrible.
Terrible. I mean, it's just because there are teams where it's just like, okay, you put this kid on this team and you take this kid and put him on this team, and all of a sudden, both those teams get better. So it's like, what if we did that? I know we can't do it, but what if we did?
We can't do that.
So we have a list of 13 teams that we're going to go roll through with our some of our trade deadline nonsense. And I want to start with Iowa because we just saw them play.
You start.
Please. So the trade that I have set up for them is Kessler Edwards from Pepperdine for Aaron Eulis and Tony Perkins. And here's my thinking on it. Right. I don't think that that Iowa is ever going to be a good man-to-man team. To me, you just kind of have to write off the idea that this is going to be a program that can ever guard anybody man-to-man. They just don't have enough good man-to-man defenders. I think what they need is to go buy in all the way to playing a 2-3 zone, play that matchup zone, learn that matchup zone, how to be effective in it. Go study Jim Boeheim if you have to, and just completely buy in and get as much length and athleticism as you can, while also having shooting and playmaking and talent around Luka Garza in the post. So Kessler Edwards is a 6'7" combo forward that shoots 38% from 3 for Pepperdine. He's a pro prospect. He's a guy on every NBA team's radar. And what Iowa would be giving up for him, another upperclassman, are a pair of freshmen that were 3.5-star, 4-star players that are going to be kind of buried on the depth chart behind some of the guys that are actually really good on this Iowa team for at least another year or two. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you're giving up guys that are going to be bench players for the next year or two for a player that can come in and maybe help revitalize a national championship run. Because how often are you going to have a guy like Luka Garza at Iowa? You're not. It's not going to be very often. So I think you're okay taking a risk on the future a little bit to put something together where you have a chance to win it all. So I like Kessler Edwards, adding him to Iowa's roster.
All right, I'm gonna do a pretty big trade in this scenario. same conference. I'm going to give away for Iowa. I'm going to give away Connor McCaffrey. And I'm going to give away Joe Toussaint. And I'm going to give away, where is he at? Aaron Eulis, so I can bring my guy. It's the only thing I feel like that Iowa needs is a guard that can demand points. I mean, Demetric Trice is, I feel like something. Demetric Trice is something I feel like. You know what? And I'll keep Connor McCaffrey. I'll give up Eulis, Joe Toussaint, and let's go with Chris Murray. Just get a young guy out of the way. And no disrespect to you, Mr. Murray, but I just feel like Demetric Trice will be an amazing fit with Luka Garza, mainly because I look at Demetric Trice's his teammates now, where Potter and Reavers, who are pretty solid low post players, but they're not Luka Garza. Luka Garza demands a ton of double teams. He demands a ton of attention. And if you can have somebody that can demand attention in a block, and Demetric Trice definitely demands attention in ball screens and off the dribble in general, that in turn leaves guys like Joe Wieskamp, guys, who else is here? Did I keep Jordan? Yeah, I kept Jordan Bohannon, who can also be a two on that team. And these guys can like space. And that attention demands, some closure. You need somebody to come in and sink in the court so you can kick to these shooters. And I feel like Jordan doesn't really do that. Like Jordan demands you to guard him at the 3-point line. But the scout report, I kind of feel like if I was coaching, and this is no slander to the young man, but it's just like force him off the 3-point line the best you can. And if you get him dribbling the ball to the basket, get him going to the basket as fast as he can, and then have him make a decision out of it.
Yeah. That's not what he does. That's not what he does at all.
So in those scenarios where you're just trying to rush a dude off the 3-point line and you'll live with whatever he does in the mid-range, it leaves your team at a disadvantage because, I mean, it just basically, in a sense, it says your guy's in a playmaker. So when you have this point guard, Bohannon, who's a good point guard, man. He's a great shooting point guard. But you need other people to get plays made for when you have a bunch of standstill shooters around. Now, they do a great job of moving the ball, and these guys find shots anyway. But imagine if you had someone out in the perimeter that demanded full attention, and now you can hit these individuals for these shots that they can get. And we're not even talking about Luka Garza. So I feel like a dominant guard would very much help them, like a scoring.
I'm just glad that we kind of set the tone for where this is going to go. Is that Da'Sean is trading players to conference rivals. I like it, man. I like where your head's at. All right, now I'm really excited to see what you got going for Illinois here.
We got a care package for the guys when they leave too. Don't worry, we got everything taken care of.
So, do you want me to go first on Illinois? Because I really like this one for Illinois. All right, so Illinois and Kentucky struck a deal on trade deadline.
Really?
Illinois is giving up Georgie Bezhanishvili. Mm-hmm. I did not get that right. I don't care.
Georgie. We know who Georgie is. You know who Georgie is.
Illinois is giving up Georgie, and they're trading him to Kentucky for Keon Brooks. Okay. Here's the logic in that. Keon Brooks probably going to end up going pro this year. I don't know if that's a guarantee, but I am very enamored with what he can be as an NBA player. And I would not be surprised to see him go, even if he doesn't. I think this is a good trade because what you get coming back is a guy that can kind of anchor the post that Coach Cal needs for next season, right? Whereas Keon Brooks is the perfect four-man that Illinois is missing. We talked about this the other day, right? Illinois is small. Kofi Cockburn is huge, but Illinois is small, right? Their best lineup probably has Ayo at the 4, Adam Miller at the 3 with Andre Curbelo and Trent Frazier, who are both small guards in their backcourt. Mm-hmm. They need that kind of perimeter-oriented stretch 4, elite defender that can knock down threes and space the floor. Like Keon Brooks is exactly who they're missing. If you got to give up Georgia to get him, and you got a chance to win a national title in the last year that Iowa was going to be here, I think you make that trade. You like it or no? It seems like you don't like it.
I love Georgie, bro.
Georgie's
such a.
You got to give something up to get something though.
You got to keep chemistry and you got to keep morale high as well. I feel like Georgie's one of those guys. If you give him up, then everybody's gonna sit there and go, the shoulders drop.
Maybe. I do love Georgie. I do love him.
Nah, Georgie's awesome, bro. Like I feel like he's the heart and soul of that team. I could be wrong though. Maybe Georgie has to go.
I don't know. I don't think he has to go. I love the idea of getting Keon Brooks on that roster. And I just wanted to give something up where you get Keon Brooks on that roster. All right, you got anything for Illinois?
Illinois. So I like Illinois in transition. Like I said, all year, they're a really good team. They get into half court, and because of, how can I put it? They get into half court and they get really stagnant. So what would help break up the stagnant offense, I feel, is having somebody that can score inside and outside. You'll probably hear this a lot from me during this trading part, because a lot of teams they have a lot of things. They have good post scorers, they have good guards, and then they have their issues, whether it be in half court, whether it be in transition, whether it be Iowa defense. But Illinois gets stagnant in half court, and I feel like if you have someone that can score inside and out, he's not Kofi Coburn, because he's going to demand the paint. You have somebody that can score inside and out, it'll help your team tremendously. And I've already traded within conference. I wouldn't be afraid to do it again. So I will. This sounds pretty bad. I'm going to take Franz Wagner. I'm going to trade Trent Frazier and Jacob Grandison. Now, Trent Frazier, it sucks because I like Trent Frazier. I feel like Trent Frazier gives them scoring in the half court, like somebody that can put the ball on the floor as a guard and get the ball out of Io's hands if Io's not doing whatever he needs to do, or Adam Miller's having an off night. But Trent is a big enough piece because I feel like Michigan wouldn't want to give up Franz without getting something somewhat solid back. I mean, Franz does a lot. And
Franz is awesome.
He's awesome, and he's a mismatch. And I feel like Trent is helpful because they don't have Michigan's not super blessed with guards, and we're talking about Trent Frazier, who's actually like a good scorer before Io and these guys came here and just took over. Adam Miller took over. Trent Frazier was the guy almost. So, in his own right. So, they would get a good guard, which they, besides Liver and the 4-man and the 5-man, which they would keep. Well, excuse me, they wouldn't keep because I'd take Franz with the Illinois, but they'd keep a majority of the team to get a good guard. And then Illinois would get somebody that once they run, if they have nothing in the run, and you can't get Kofi the ball, get the ball to the perimeter. You get a mismatch in the perimeter. A guy that can put the ball on the floor, score that is back to the basket, can shoot, and you have somebody to go to in the half-court section, aside from Io, of course.
No, I get it, man. I get it. I love Franz. All right, let's move on to Alabama. I think you're going to like my trade, my Alabama trade. You ready for this?
Talk to me.
Alabama needs to trade the guy that's the trainer for the basketball team for the guy that's the trainer for the football team, because
these guys keep getting hurt.
Yeah, you know what they need.
This guy is.
You know what they need? They need Jordan Bruner back. That's what they need. That's what they need.
They don't need anything else. They don't need a trade. They just need Jordan Bruner back. So
and look, I like Alex Reese. Like, that's not a shot at Alex Reese, but Jordan Bruner, the shot blocking and the playmaking and the passing, it just adds another dynamic, right? And it's not just him. Javon Quinterly was out for a while with a health issue, and Herb Jones, like he had a finger bent the wrong way. Like, I don't know if you saw the picture of it, but it was poking away that fingers aren't supposed to be poking. I don't know if you ever did that to your finger. I've done that to my finger, Deshaun.
Nah,
and that motherfucker swelled up. That motherfucker swelled up. It looked like there was an acorn in my knuckle. It was awful.
Never good.
But yeah, I mean, Herb Jones, like, banged up. They need a better trainer at Alabama. That's what they need. or at least someone to give them like the horse tranquilizers that'll help them get out on the court. That's what they need.
Oh my gosh! If I had to say something about them, Jaden Shackelford is a good player, flat out. I love Jaden Shackelford, but I feel like they need someone that can get the rest of the shooters involved. Similar to what I was saying before, Jaden Shackelford is like a really good player, can score the basketball. He's not even leading the team in assists, and I think the team leader in assists is like 3, and then after that is like 3, 2. They're like 3 guys averaging 2 assists. They don't get many assists, which is strange from a team that shoots the ball so well. I think they get like 13 assists a game. Strange, like that, because they shoot so many threes, they shoot the ball so well. You would think, and they share it so well, they would have more assists. So I feel like they would do great with a pass first point guard, somebody that they can pass the ball, but they're not going to be there. They also require you to guard them. And once again, I hope you're not surprised that I'm trading in conference. You know who I'm going for. It's the home run play, as usual, by me, because all I want to do is make home run plays. I'm going to trade. I know everybody's going to be like, yo, dude, what are you doing? I'm going to give up Alex Reese. I love you, Alex. And I don't think I'm picking on Alex. Shut up. I'm going to give up Alex Reese, and I'm going to give up Jaden Shackelford on a hope that Burner's back. And I'm going to trade to Auburn for Sharif Cooper. Because
I don't hate it.
I want 20 points. I want 20 points a game matched with those like 8 to 9 assists or 7 or 8 assists that he gets. Because him having 8 assists, I guarantee you, my guy John Petty will be over there averaging about like 19. That'll change his stats.
I just love that you had to lean.
I had to
be able to. You had to lean and let us know.
I gotta let you guys know that this is it hurts me. Granted, I'm smiling. It hurts me to trade these young men because they're very talented players. But I feel like a pass first point guard on this Alabama team is very necessary. I mean, it's someone that can demand the ball to score and somebody that can get everybody else involved. I mean, they have a very versatile team. So scoring point guard. I mean,
we just had a question come in.
Oh, please! I would love to read it.
The question is, where is the signed picture of Angela Lansbury in the background of the
First
shot?
of all, it's upstairs in my my room next to my Angela Lansbury sweatshirt. So mind your business. Whoever asked that question, Dave, probably. Anyway.
All right, for Virginia. So my thought for Virginia is that they're not that far away. They're not as far away as I thought a lot of teams were. What they really need is someone that can go get their own in a situation where like the offense kind of gets stagnated and they have to play in the half court and it's not as easy as maybe they expected it to be. Like they need someone that can go get a bucket. So I'm going to trade for Rasir Bolton from Iowa State. His numbers are down a little bit this year, but anyone that's watched him play knows that he's a guy that can kind of create. Like his whole thing is like creating on his own and going to getting a bucket on his own. And I'm going to give up Casey Morsel to be able to do that. I love Casey coming out of high school. I don't think that Casey is shooting it well enough to be able to play at the level that you need to play, to be able to get on the floor for Virginia and win at the level you need to win at. And I think that if you find a way to get some of that like scoring pop on this Virginia team, like you're getting kind of close to like an Elite Eight, Final Four caliber team. So like someone that can, like, look, here's what you need. When things were going bad against Virginia Tech, you needed that Band-Aid guy, right? You needed that guy that could stop the bleeding. You needed that guy that could give the ball to and go get a bucket when you needed a bucket.
Yeah.
And for me, Rasir Bolton is an easily attainable guy that you can give up for a guy that is going to be a junior next season and has yet to look anything like the player that we thought he was going to be coming in.
I can rock with it. I can rock with that. I honestly, I agree with you. That was one of the things I kind of picked with Virginia, just having somebody that can go out there and get a bucket. Because I mean, they have all the pieces. I feel like of a team that if they had somebody out there that people had to like focus on, other guys would thrive in the fact that they had that kind of player. So like I'm along with you on that. I was going to trade. All right, with Virginia, I was going to give up. Where is he at? Sorry, my bad. I wrote it down. I was going to give up Reese Beekman, and I was going to actually go for where is he at again? I wrote it down. Miller Kopp from.
Oh, I like it.
I feel like Miller would fit in with that scenario there, and him having the freedom to go out there, and which basically is what he does. Where it was tough too, because I was leaning towards. I like Chase Aldridge. I like him like as a player, but I mean Miller. Miller Kopp he's the bucket getter too, as well as on that team.
And he's got a great name.
Yeah, so
and he's got a great name.
So yeah,
next time we have one of these days, going to be like, yeah, I'm drinking my nice ice cold Miller Kopp out of a bottle today.
Now that's a pretty good name now that you mentioned it. But
all right. Next up is Villanova. For Villanova, I went with I'm giving up former 5-star prospect Brian Antoine. Right. I don't know how healthy his shoulder is. I think that there's value there.
That was my guy as well. Continue.
So I don't know how healthy his shoulder is. I'm worried about that. So I'm giving him up to go get Keith Williams from the University of Cincinnati. And Keith Williams, to me, like Cincinnati's having a rough year. I think they're 2-4 in the AAC right now. Not a very good team. A little bit of a rebuilding season for John Brandon there. So you go out and you get a guy that used to be a 5-star that's getting his year back, that still has 3 seasons of eligibility available to him. If you can get his shoulder healthy, he's a guy that has very real NBA potential. Keith Williams, exactly what Villanova's missing. He is a 6'5" wing. He's a really, really good defensive player. He's a guy, he's not shooting it great this year, but he shot 34% from 3 last season. And the biggest concern that I have with this Villanova team is a little bit of toughness and a little bit of physicality, like defensively. Like the big thing I'm worried about is how easy teams have had it beating them off the dribble, getting to the rim, being able to expose some of their perimeter defenders. So Keith Williams is a guy that can guard on the perimeter. I like Keith Williams at Villanova.
In my opinion, I feel like Villanova's team is too mid-range and perimeter heavy. It's always good to have a good amount of players that can play on the perimeter. It's very helpful. 4-on-1 is beautiful. I feel though that my man Jermaine Samuels, I was gonna, like I said, I had that guy initially, but I'm gonna go with Jermaine. And I mean, he's a good player. He's been playing great too. So I hate to I got to go what his stock is high. You know, I feel like there's no better time to trade somebody that you're planning on trading when the stock was high. And I would trade Jermaine for. It pains me to say this. I would just trade Jermaine for. It's killing me. Evan Mobley. Sorry, it's not written down. Evan Mobley. I'm trading Jermaine. I'm trading Caleb Daniels. I'm getting Evan Mobley. They need back to the basket scoring. They have perimeter scoring with Colin Gillespie. Granted, Colin Gillespie did not have a great night the other night, but they have perimeter scoring. They have Justin Moore scoring well for the season, and I mean, Caleb Daniels does a great job. He's a good defender. He's a great third ball handler. He was a leading scorer, I would assume, last game, but. You need 2 good pieces, and you bring in Evan Mobley, who's an amazing player who can score the ball on the block, and then it helps free things out on the perimeter. Now, do I think USC would go for that? Hell no. But this is my story and my dream, so I'm gonna go trade with those guys instead.
Day is getting reckless with it now. All right, next up is
Didn't think of it at first. Apologies. Did not represent them.
Next up is Tennessee. So here's mine for Tennessee, right? Tennessee needs that go-to guy. They need someone that you can give them the ball and they can go out and make a play. They need somebody that is more than just a defender or a shot maker or a finisher. They need a dude, right? They need a dude. So Bowling Green struggling a little bit in the MAC this year. Maybe has a chance to go out and win the automatic bid, but for the most part, like they're kind of middle to bottom of the pack in the They're in the MAC, right? So they got a kid named Justin Turner. Justin Turner was considering grad transferring this past summer and had like basically every high major in the country chasing him. He's averaging 21, 5, and 4 this year. He's the perfect fit for Tennessee, who needs like big athletic guards that can go out and make their own plays. They give up Victor Bailey, shot maker, a scorer, a guy that's averaging double figures, a guy that can probably average 17 a game in the MAC, has a couple of years of eligibility left. And it's a perfect fit for both sides. There you go. Justin Turner, problem solver at Tennessee.
Tennessee, I was going to lead more to giving up Keon Johnson because, listen, Keon Johnson's a great player, good player. I dig that. As you're going to probably destroy me for saying this too. But I just feel like Tennessee does a ton of standing around and force shots. And granted, they just do a lot of standing around. And like you said, they need somebody that can go out there and get a basket. So I would have to give up Keon. And I would go with a guy that would thrive in an opportunity. I feel like Isaiah Ross would thrive in this opportunity to score the basketball. Isaiah Ross from Iona. Great scorer, great coming off of ball screens, pull up, mid-range, catch and shoot three, one dribble, two dribble, three, whatever you want to do around mid-range shooting. And he can score going to the basket as well. But I feel like having somebody that can make these shots in these areas for Tennessee, who just gets to these areas a lot and just pump fakes from time to time and then hoists up shots, I kind of feel like someone that can get their own bucket like him is very helpful. It sucks to have to give up a potential amazing basketball player, but
well, I mean, like if you're gonna give somebody up, like that's kind of the guy, right? Like there's a ton of athletic wings that can guard on Tennessee's roster. So like it's not like they don't have someone that can replace him.
Granted, he's a great one though. But
Isaiah Ross, fun fact, he's like 24 years old, isn't he?
Yeah, we need old people. Of all teams, this team needs an older person on the team that can go out there and get a bucket.
I think Isaiah Ross is older than Kim English.
Not possible. Kim English, no. But then again, you never know with these kids these days. So,
all right, Texas. Next up, I love my trade for Texas. I am giving up Donovan Williams. I'm giving up Gerald Lidell, two guys that were relatively highly recruited, two guys that should be able to fit in Bobby Hurley's system. What I think that Texas, the one thing that I think they're missing is that kind of like big athletic wing that can knock down threes, right? Like my concern with them is that they have three little guards on their roster.
How big is Andrew Jones?
Like 6'3".
Really?
Courtney Ramey's like 6. Courtney Ramey's like 6'3". Matt Coleman's like 6'2". So to me, that is the biggest concern with this team is they gotta like they're a team built on their defense and they got a bunch of little guards on the roster. Like that doesn't always work out the way you need it to work out. So I'm trading for Marcus Bagley at Arizona State. He is 6'8", 220 pounds. He's a freshman. He's a sharpshooter. He's a guy that can play on the wing. He obviously has like NBA pedigree. And I think that he is actually the better freshman over someone like Josh Christopher. I'd rather have Marcus Bagley on my team playing that kind of complementary role. So I'm going to go get him. I'm going to put him on Shaka Smart's roster, and we're going to go win a national title with the Longhorns, baby. Let's go.
I was about to say, I couldn't find a group for this. Like I couldn't find anybody for this team. I kind of felt like they were just fine. I couldn't.
I mean, they're really good. Like, don't get me wrong, they're really good. But like, I think that they're missing a piece. And what you're giving up off their bench are two guys that have a ton of potential. But like both of them, like Jared Lidell has already announced that he's transferring. So like, I'm taking the liberty of saying that despite the fact that he's announced that he's transferring, like Texas still holds his his trade rights.
Oh
so I'm taking the liberty there. That's where we are in this live stream. All right.
Jeez.
Next up, we got Texas Tech. What do you got for Texas Tech? I got a good one.
Who do you have? Please.
Namari Burnett is another 5-star guy that has already announced that he's transferring out of the Texas Tech program. So what we're going to do, Da'Sean, since we're in the business of saying that they still have the trade rights, is that we are going to trade Namari Burnett for Trey Mitchell at UMass. Trey Mitchell is a guy that averages 20 and 7. He blocks some shots. He makes some threes. He can play that 4 spot. He's 6'9". He is exactly what Texas Tech is missing. They need that kind of like big combo forward, athletic combo forward role filled. Chris Beard does so well with those guys. You put Trey Mitchell on that roster, and plus he loves transfers more than anybody in the planet loves transfers. Trey Mitchell for Namari Burnett. That's a perfect fit.
All right. So I have somebody I need to get rid of. No disrespect. I love the guy. Marcus Santos Silva has not had his best year, and that's okay. But I feel that Texas Tech is a team that they're a defensive team. When I say defense, they do a great job of making people play ugly, and they do that without having a low post scoring presence. So giving up Marcus Santos Silva and adding PV into the mix, I would trade with what is that? No, sorry, my bad. Excuse me, I'm tripping. I would trade with Seton Hall, and you know who I'm going with. I feel like they have a good scoring low post with my guy Sandro, and you have Matt McClung, who's a great scorer in the perimeter. You have Terrence Shannon, who's TJ Shannon is a good guard as well, who comes off the bench and helps a huge amount. McCullough's a good guard as well. So like these guys being able to get shots coming from inside then out, I mean, as opposed to having to go out there and just play one-on-one and find shots late into the shot clock, I feel like having that inside threat who can actually put the ball in the basket a little bit more consistently would help them out. I mean, I just feel like Marcus has had a tough year so far.
I like how you think Seton Hall would give up Sancho for Marcos Santos Silva.
Nah, but
you're right.
They wouldn't take Micah and Marcus at all.
I'll tell you what though, they're probably 2 losses away from not being able to play in the NCAA tournament. And if they're not playing in the NCAA tournament, then it might make sense to give up your senior for a freshman that's got some potential. So I don't totally hate it. All right, West Virginia's up.
All right, so
I can't wait to see who you're kicking off the West Virginia team because I'm about to take this clip and send it to Bob Huggins and just let him know like this is what Da'Sean Butler thinks about your program.
This is what I think about our program. Shut up. Anyway, so my beloved Mountaineers. Shit. Anyway, so we are a pretty good team in the low post with Derek Culver. We have a good guard in Deuce McBride. We have some solid shooters on the wings. The one thing I think that we are missing is somebody that can score the ball, like similar to what I was saying before, scoring the ball on the perimeter and scoring the ball like inside as well. So my West Virginia team, I was going to, you can trade hurt people, can't you? No, I would probably have to go with, I would have to take Ty Thwett, excuse me. We still have my guy Kedrian Johnson, who's an absolute dog. I feel terrible trading Kedrian Johnson, and I'd have to give up my my young boy Njai. So that's 3 players with all our future our future scholarships as well. We'll send those all over to Rutgers, and we'll Why would I stop picking good names? Why would I stop picking good names?
Of course, you found a way to get Ron Harper
Jr. Because we need points in the paint, we need points in the perimeter, and we need somebody that give West Virginia that duality. I mean, I feel like we have that with Derek Culver scoring the ball in the paint, and we have Deuce that can score the ball on the perimeter as well as the other guys in the perimeter. But we need somebody that can do a little bit of both, and that can switch on defense. And I mean, there's not many versatile guys with that size that can also play for Coach Huggins out there. It's like it's a different breed of players, and Rutgers somehow has the sweet touch to go recruit these guys. So we have to make trades.
You are very good at finding a way to trade for All-Americans. All right, so let's keep it moving. Next one, we got 4 left. We'll roll through these quickly. We'll go Kansas, Florida State, Creighton, and Duke. For Kansas, I love my trade. I'm giving up Tristan Enaruna, who I don't know, like he's got a ton of potential. I don't know if he's ever going to end up being good enough to play for Kansas. I'm sending him to Pepperdine, right? Pepperdine has already given up Kessler Edwards, right? They're giving up Colby Ross. They're getting rid of all of these veteran guys, and now they're bringing in Tristan Enaruna. They're bringing in some young guys from Iowa. But Colby Ross, like what Kansas really needs is like that point guard go-to guy, right? We talked about it all year. They don't have a point guard. So now they're trading for one of the best point guards, a guy that's probably going to end up playing in the NBA one day in Colby Ross.
Well, I kind of thought that Kansas, regardless of what position it is, they just needed somebody that can go out there and help them with scoring, period. So, I mean, I know how hard you are in David McCormack, so I decided to take Dave and trade Mitch Lightfoot and then see if we can bring in Garrison Brooks from UNC.
I don't hate it.
And maybe we can get some buckets on the inside, which I mean, this is not I know Kansas doesn't just throw the ball in and just bang, bang, bang buckets, but having that post presence with your back to the basket and a little mid-range face up as well, maybe can draw some help in and maybe get some of the other guys going. I kind of feel like they can keep Marcus Garrett at the one at this point now. At this point in the season, Bryce Thompson's still is he still banged up, right? So, yeah. I mean, I didn't want to give him up. He's young and he has a future with the Jayhawks. So
David McCormack makes sense on North Carolina. He probably would be a really good player for Roy Williams in the way that he wants to play. All right, Florida State. The guy that I wanted to get on their roster was Jalen Crutcher, and I don't know how you would get him. I think what I have listed is Jalen Crutcher for a recruit to be named later. Leonard Hamilton.
Have you heard the things I've been saying on the show today? Like, I'm sure you can do whatever you want.
Oh, I know. I traded trainers at Alabama.
Exactly.
So I'm trading Jalen Crutcher for a recruit to be named later. I think that's kind of like the one thing that Florida State is missing is that like point guard, go-to guy, like leading scorer. Like I love Scotty Barnes. I'd love Scotty Barnes so much more if he kind of played like a little bit off the ball. And Jalen Crutcher, like, look, I think Dayton's 6-4 in the A10, which is better than I thought it was going to be. I thought they were terrible. But, hey, you know what? He's a stud. Let's give him to Florida State, see what happens.
Yeah, I couldn't find anything for Florida State like I told you earlier, bro. It was tough to pick. I mean, I feel like playing for Leonard Hamilton is a tough job in general. So I had to find the right guy that can defend and can go out there. They need somebody that can get buckets, like you said, but it was a hard pick for me personally.
I don't love the trade that I made for Creighton. I traded Kudus Wahab for Ryan Kalkbrenner. Kudus Wahab from Georgetown, he's a bit of a more physical presence in the paint, a bit more of a shot blocker, and a better defender than what Ryan Kalkbrenner is. And I just think that's what Creighton's missing. They're missing the anchor in the paint, and I don't think Kalkbrenner's that guy yet. So since you still have Marcus Zagorowski, I'm giving up Kudus Wahab for Ryan Kalkbrenner.
I'm going to do Wahad, and I'm going to get rid of – where's my center at? Ryan Kalkbrenner, yeah. I got to give those two up. And you know what? I can't just give those two up. I got to give a third up for this guy because this guy's I think would help them out. Let's give up – oh, wow. He's good. Can't give him up. Let's go with it. Let's go with O'Connell. He's young enough, I feel like, maybe. And I want to trade with Minnesota and bring in Liam Robbins. I kind of feel like they need a center. They have Christian Bishop who does great, but I feel like they're going to be for them to win in the tournament sooner or later, or even against a team like Villanova, they're around the same size, but they're bigger and they're still bigger and stronger. And it's going to be tough for them to keep JRE off the glass. And then when they get out of the Big East and they get into the tournament, they're going to have to play against bigger guys. And I feel like Liam Robbins, who can score the ball in the post, who can obviously stretch the floor just as well as these guys can and play a little 5 out if that's what they wanted to do. I feel like he would fit really well in McDermott's scenario there. And you still have Christian Bishop there to play 4 and play 5 if you want to switch some things around. They just don't have a post presence. And I feel like that post presence, like it's always good to have people that can stretch the floor, but if you're not requiring anybody to like focus on you anywhere else, and they don't have like Zagorowski wasn't like he's doing well, but he's still not like what he was yet. And so that means he's not really requiring the attention that he was normally requiring for these guys to really light things up. So these guys are playing really well together and they're doing good together, but it's still not what they could possibly be. And I feel like having somebody there that can score the ball in the paint, like Liam Robinson, will fit that system a little bit.
Yeah, no, I get it. I like it. I like it a lot. I don't know if Minnesota would give up Liam Robbins for that, but hey, you know what? Cool. Maybe by the end of the season when they kind of fall out of the NCAA tournament picture, they consider it. Last one, Duke. Here's my trade. All right. Part of the reason Zaire Williams is having some concerns at Stanford is he has not been the standout that he thought he was going to be. It's not been the greatest situation at Stanford just because they've been basically like living in a hotel for the last month. So I am trading Zaire Williams for Wendell Moore. Wendell Moore is going to be around for at least a year or two more. Zaire Williams is basically done at Stanford. So you're giving him up for you're basically Wendell Moore is not worth Zaire Williams, but it's better than nothing, which is what Stanford is probably assuming they're going to get back for Zaire Williams at this point. You go to Duke, all of a sudden we have Zaire Williams, Jalen Johnson, Matthew Hurt on a perimeter. Things get a little bit interesting. His profile is going to be very, very large at Duke. And, you know, Duke may never get a stop ever again. But I'll tell you what, they might score more points in Iowa every single night.
I was going to trade Wendell Moore as well. I was going to go with more of like a senior. I was going to go with Austin Reeves from Oklahoma. I feel like trading him for that would help the team at least with scoring from the perimeter, something they're lacking in at the moment. And then also just like having a veteran there who's been in some games and seen some things out there could help the Duke Blue Devils a ton. I mean, they are playing like all forwards almost.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
So.
I don't hate it. Austin Reeves, he's a fun player. All right, Da'Sean, we've been here for like an hour, man. Again, make sure if you're still listening to this, rate, review, subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to our channel on YouTube. It's the Field of 68. And if you're looking to make a couple bets on the Super Bowl, if you make $100 of bets after depositing $100 as a new user at betrivers.com, you can get $500 in free bets with the promo code BIGGAME500. Da'Sean, that is in reference to the Super Bowl.
I was about to ask you what exactly. Forget it. We'll get back to it later.
We will. We'll see you guys on Sunday.
Who do you have? Super Bowl. Who do you have in the Super Bowl?
Oh, we got to make predictions. I am going with Patrick Mahomes.
Really?
No questions asked. Yeah.
You're going against the old man?
Yeah, Pat Mahomes.
That's stupid.
Look, Brady's 45 years old, right?
That's true. And he's home.
48 years old. He's going to be at home. It's going to be his bedtime, like right around the time we get to halftime. So I just think he's going to get sleepy by the end of the game.
How many people are they letting into the game anyway? Because everybody was like, "Oh, they get to play the Super Bowl home." I was like, "Yo, we're in a pandemic. Does it matter?" Like home field advantage.
No, it does not matter.
It
does not matter.
Yeah,
who you got?
I think Tampa Bay's got it.
You think Tampa Bay's got it?
Yeah, I think
wow.
I mean,
wow. Sleeping on Patrick Mahomes.
No, I'm not sleeping on him.
I'm
not sleeping on him. All I'm saying
is disrespect.
I think that the old man that's been there before won't waste the opportunity while he's there. I mean, he's been there. He knows what he needs to do. So,
Patrick Mahomes, man.
I hope Patrick. I would love to see
nothing.
Patrick.
You're nothing but a hater.
No, who hates Patrick? Who brings the no but passes into football? Who hates Patrick?
Nothing but a hater. All right, Da'Sean, this was fun. We will see you guys again Sunday night after the Super Bowl is over. Maybe we'll record before. Maybe we should do that. Maybe we should record before the Super Bowl so we can get drunk. So we can get drunk during the Super Bowl.
Whoa. I might. Yeah, actually, I should be able to do that. I forgot. Yeah.
Well, you know what we'll do? We'll talk about it. We'll talk about this when we're not live on the stream.
Exactly.